My name's Professor Tim Palmbach, and I'm a professor at University of New Haven. And before that, I was the crime lab director in the state of Connecticut. About 2 years ago, I started a project which really very much involves the use of DNA in the battle against human trafficking. So the starting point is there's 30 some odd million people that are currently modern day slaves. And when I started research, well, how's that possible? What are we doing about it? And with technology, we have tools, we've come a long way. What was amazing to me is we're doing almost nothing. And as an obvious result of that would be that we're having very few arrests and almost very few convictions. And on the rare occasion we do get a conviction, it's usually of a very low-level player, so that the net effect of that is really none. And I began to ask myself, what is it about my technologies or my skills that could make a difference? And so very quickly, for anybody who's even related to the world of forensic DNA analysis, this is an obvious choice. Yeah, so again, human trafficking, 30 million all over the place. It includes more labor trafficking than sexual exploitation. Although sexual exploitation seems to get more attention. And labor can affect men, women, children, cut across all different countries, and their lifestyles are equally as horrific. The sexual exploitation is more women and young girls, but it is also males in some societies. So it does cover all of those bases. What DNA does and what it can do in more or less the short-term immediate is it gives these victims an identity back. The number one methodology of these trackers is to physically remove their identity, physically isolate them from friends and family and foundation, take all their credentials and passports away, and maybe even give them a fake one. And so they practically and psychologically strip them of their identity. And one of the things we want to say to them is they can never take this identity from you. And for a person to have an identity is for a person to be empowered, and it's their first step in them getting the courage to make the decision to get out, do something different, and even hopefully someday cooperate, in the criminal justice system. So that's the big thing. Long term. And a lot of people are going to have to, deal with, their real worries and the concerns over privacy and DNA databases, which I think we can factually explain to them why they don't need to be as worried. But we'll get to a point where we'll have this vulnerable population, which is in the millions, in a data bank, and it will be, again, their permanent identity. It will be their source of protection. And so that this organized crime, transnational movement of these victims will be greatly hampered by the use of DNA technology, particularly when we get to the point of implementing it in borders and border stations and in immigration control. And as we do that, we solve a lot of other problems as well. We have a better handle on immigration. It's certainly a very powerful counterterrorism tool. So it's just a win-win-win all the way around if we'll make the commitment, which is a very large commitment, to create these databases.